am popping on to show you something you can do with your 12 by 12 paper. Now this is a package that I had for a recent class, so I often take 12 by 12 paper and fold it up and put everything needed for the class in the folder. But then sometimes I like to share with the class what you can do with the folder after it's done, and maybe even the ribbon. So just before I get started, what was included in this class was 4 projects that incorporated or focused on the two-tone cardstock and fun folds. So they also received these die cut flowers. So that is done from the washi tape, and they were mounted on the panels and then die cut. So each person in the class received a package of each of the colors that were there. They also received the butterflies, and then they also received a package of either a couple of sheets of either these words or these words, and they also received 3 sheets of the foil labels. And why am I sharing this with you? We're going to use these as well on this project because this is being shared with them as well. So they will have those materials. And so there we go. So now we have this sheet. So you can do a few things with this packet. You could cut it down and make a card holder to hold the cards. It's all good, and then decorate the front. But I thought, wouldn't it be fun to be able to make a bag? So what we're going to do is we're going to bring this in, and we're going to cut on all of the fold lines. Doesn't matter what order. So I'm going to start with this one here for me. And if you're starting with a plain piece of, maybe I should back up a little bit, of your either two-tone cardstock or designer paper or just regular cardstock. This is scored in half at 6 inches, and then this is at 9 inches. So we're going to cut off at the 9-inch mark, just right on the fold. That was the packet. We're going to cut at the 6-inch mark, so that's halfway there. So now we have 2 pieces that are 6 inches by 9 inches. So we've got those 2. And we're cutting this on that fold line as well. So these are 3 by 6. Now what we're going to do, I'm going to bring my I'll just use this. Now we're going to do some scoring. So we're on these 2. First of all, you're going to decide which, if you want the dark side or the light side. I think I'll do it this way. We're going to score at 3/4 of an inch on the 2 long sides and 1 of the narrow sides. So 3/4 of an inch. That way, 3/4 of an inch. That way, and 3/4 of an inch. There. Now we're going to repeat that with this one. So 3/4 of an inch. 3/4 of an inch. And 3/4 of an inch. So we're going to set those aside right there, and we're going to now, with this, we are going to score 1/2 inch on this, and 1.5 inches here and here. So 1.5 inches. And we'll flip it around, 1.5 inches. Why am I using my bone folder instead of this? Sometimes I feel like I have more control. So it's just a personal preference. 1.5 inches. 1.5 inches. So now we can take this out of the way. Put my name back in position. And now we're going to fold down here. And then this way here. So what is going to happen is this is going to be the bottom of our bag. This is going to be the folded over top, so you can see the two tones of the cardstock. So if you're looking at it, it's like a elongated Z, so it's going to be like that. Now you want to do the same thing with this one here. So we're going to fold it this way here. And then this way here. So again, it's going to look just the same. So they're going to eventually be put together like that. In fact, why don't we do that right now? So you can use any strong adhesive to put them together. You can use your Seal Plus, you can use your green glue, this glue here, or you can use Tear and Tape. I'm going to use Tear and Tape for the sake of the video, just so that it's dry quickly and I don't have to wait for anything. I'm going to put 2 strips like that. Give it a little bit of a burnish. Bring in my Take Your Pick to peel the backing off. And then fasten the 2 together. And I like to keep my fingers in between as I'm putting things in place so it doesn't accidentally stick down. So I'm just coming up to the fold like that. So now I've got a shape like that. But we've got openings here, so that's where this is going to come in. Well, no, I digress. I am going to stay focused here. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut in on this scored line here and cut in on this scored line. And then I'm going to just do a little wedge here, because when you're making shapes like boxes, that kind of thing, it makes it easier to get things lined up. And I'm going to do the same on this one. So cut in, do a little wedge. I need to clean my scissors. They're sticky. Everything's sticking to them. Cut in, make a little wedge. And now I'm going to fold on the scored lines. And again, when you're making 3D projects, it's always good to have nice crisp folds. So burnish those folds, make them nice and sharp. And we'll do this little tab there. We'll do the same with this one. Burnishing the folds, making them crisp. Just like that. Now, it didn't matter if you did the folds before or after doing the cutting. That's totally up to you. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put adhesive on these 2 tabs and bring it in so that we make sort of like a little end of a box. So that's what we're going to do with that. And I think I will use my liquid adhesive on here so I can wiggle it around if I need to. Again, it doesn't matter what adhesive you use. It's whatever you're comfortable with. So I'm making sure that this is nice and even here. I'm going to do that here as well. So now we've got the end of our box. put that aside and do this one, doing the exact same thing. Just hold it a minute so that glue sets up. I should have done something before I did that, but we will make it work. If I had been thinking, I would have put my tear and tape on here first, and run it down here, but I forgot. So what I'm going to do is actually, because what our goal is to insert this in here like that, so that it forms the side, and then this would come up like that. So what I should have done, and I think I can still make it work, is run my tear and tape down here. Do you know what? It's going to be a little awkward. I'm going to do it here, but I'm going to make sure not to come too high, because this is not as high as this. So I'll put that there as my little marker. There's always a workaround, right? And that'll be good enough there. And we'll do the same thing here. Like that. And while we're at it, we'll do the same thing over here. And this one right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start each of them, but just a little bit of a start. Actually, I want to start them down here. And I'm just going to fold the backing from the tear and tape out. This way I can start my project, start inserting that little edge piece, side piece, but I don't have to worry about all of the rest being sticky. There we go. So now what we're going to do is we're going to place this here like that and slide this up. So let me just start it. Obviously, we're going to do this a few times. So it's like that. I've caught a little bit of that glue there and a little bit on that side. And see, I've still got the tabs out. Now I can pull this and stick it down. And I'm going to line these up. It's always a little tougher on camera than if you were just working at your desk. Pull this up like that. And then to make sure it's pushed down, I'll take my bone folder or your hand and go inside, and I'm just pressing down so that the seal is really good and strong. So now we've got that side, so it looks like this. We're going to repeat that on this side here. So again, we're going to put this in. It's just easier to see if it's lined up if I look from this side here. Like that. Just catch those little edges that I started. Push this one in a bit. Like that. Repeat it on this side. Just like that. Now, if you don't want these flaps flapping around, you could fasten them down with a bit of adhesive. So whoops. You could have always, done some fancy die cutting here and here, but we're keeping it pretty simple. And we'll put a bit here too, like that. And now you have your basic box. Now if you just put your finger here and squeeze, or basic bag, pardon me, just like that, you have a little bag made that will hold cards perfectly. So let's bring in some of the cards that were from that class. Here are 3 of them. They will easily fit in there, but your bag is definitely big enough to hold all kinds of other things. Now, we had some things left over from that class, so let's have a little bit of fun. How could we decorate the bag? So we've got this tag here, so I am thinking that, whoops, need to push that down. This could go on here as a little tag. These die cut labels, they are so neat because they also have the outline as well. You just have to be patient as you're punching it out. So let me see, could I go, ooh, yeah, that looks pretty neat, doesn't it? So this can be my focal point and this can go on. Now, if I wanted, I could also cut this ribbon in half and use half for each side and make the ribbon into handles. And maybe we'll do that, we'll see. But let's create the focal point here. So we could have brought in words from some of the words that they had in their packages, like that, or you can use a stamp set. So I think we're going to use a stamp, and the stamp I'm using is from With You in Mind, and it has nice, great big stamps here. And we're going to do Happy Birthday, and we'll use Secret Sea. Secret Sea looks so good with, this is a Timid Tiger color here, and Secret Sea really looks nice with that. So we'll bring that in, ink that up. So you could create any kind of focal point to put on here. I'm just using some of the materials that the class members had in their kit. So we've got Happy Birthday there. Now remember, I said that we had these packages of flowers and leaves that were die cut from the washi tape. So we will bring some of those in, and let's see. I've got some in a container here. We could go like that. Ooh, yeah, that, I'm quite happy with that, just like that. And maybe we could bring in a little something down here as well. Something like that. So that's the joy when you've got a little label, is or big label as this one is. You can create it off of your project and then just add it in. So I'm going to put this down like that, and this one down like that, and I think I'll put this on dimensionals. Let's bring in dimensionals here and we'll add 2. Like that. Now it's ready to put on our bag. Figure out our placement here. I love how we get 2 tones, 2 shades just from one piece of paper. And you can see how this would also look really good with designer paper too. Okay, let me see. I can't decide how I want this to go. I think that will be good. So I am going to put it upside down here. I'm going to run some adhesive here. Making sure it's just a little bit on those narrow edges. Are you like me? Once in a while you get the placement of something and you don't want to move it. And now something else that was in the kits is everybody got a full package of the brushed brass butterflies. So I have a few here, so we could add a little bit here as well. They go with that gold. We're going to leave it like that. Now, there you have just a real quick little bag made by using 12 by 12 paper. And it just makes maximum use of it. You're using every single bit of it. Now, if you wanted to put the ribbon in, what I tend to do, I work with scrap paper to begin with. I tend to, so this is the size that we started with. So right here, what I like to do when I'm looking to do placement of things is I take my scoring tool and I say, okay, I want it about that far down from the top, and I score that, and then I score in equally from each side. So in this case, I scored in from 1.5 inches here and 1.5 here. Just bear with me. This is my math is a little shaky, so it's always better if I do it this way. Now, where those two lines intersect, I'll just make a mark there so you can see. They intersect right here and right here. So this is my little template that I'm making. So I'll bring in my hole punch and punch there and there. Now I can use that template on here and work on my placement of my ribbon. So I could either make a mark or I can wing it and just punch through like this, like that. And then I want to do the same on the other side. I could have done all of them together, but it's pretty thick. So again, you could make dots through there. I'm just going to use this again. You will work out your own strategy, whatever works for you. I always like to see what other people do, so I'm just sharing my thought process there. So now we've got the holes like that. We have this long piece of ribbon that is about 26 inches. So I'm just going to cut it in half. And you can decide now, do you want the knot on the inside or the outside? I sometimes think the knot on the outside is kind of pretty. So I'm going to do it on the outside. So I'll pull it through, just do a little loop and bring the tail in like that. And now we've got this little knot there. So if you don't like it like that, now's your time to change your mind, because you can go and have it on the inside now, and then it would look like this on the outside. So I'm going to leave it on the outside, And I could have used a smaller hole punch. I see it's coming right through, so I'm going to keep the knots really nice and loose and poofy so that they stick. And bring this through, so bring it through before you tie it. I used a 1/4 inch hole punch, and I wish I'd used a 1/8, but we can always make it work, right? Now we're going to do the same on the back. Do that. I am so happy with how this is turning out, and what a perfect way to give a little gift, particularly a gift of a set of cards. So there you have it like that. We've got the gift bag all set to go, all set to put some cards in, and I just thought you might like to know that little trick and little layout. Remember, you can always round corners, add little bits of layers here, that kind of thing. This was just keeping it simple and using the materials that my class got in their kit. So if you would like to know more about the kit, please just message me and I will give you some more information. All right, thanks everybody. Bye-bye.